Okay, so let's do the next section. Summary of laws. I love this book. I mean, all of this book for summary. So you read, but you need to summarize, okay, like in few words. So it's a buying and selling. It is forbidden to buy, sell, rent, or release anything on Yom Tov, as on Shabbos, even for the purpose of the mitzvah. Again, buy or sell, right? We don't do that. Rent or lease, anything on Yom Tov. So technically, people can stay for Shabbos only, technically, right? Why? Because they come before Shabbos and they leave after Shabbos. So it's actually included this Shabbos time, right? I mean, the time before Shabbos starts. So they charge them the preparation of the room, right? They have to wash it, change the bed sheets, the towels and stuff like that. And they charge for after they leave. They charge for again for cleaning. So basically, even though like technically person stayed only one Shabbos, that's it, only one. I mean only one day, but there is no problem because he or she paid only for the preparation or clean up after that. And it's very interesting. So that's the difference between Israel and the whole world. Right, it's very interesting difference. So in the whole world, like if you go anywhere to hotel, so checkout time is like 11 a.m. or up to 12 tops. Of course, you can ask extension, maybe hours, so they're not going to refuse. But technically, it's officially it's 11 a.m. Right, by 11 a.m. you have to be out, and they have 3 or 4 hours. At 3 or 4 p.m. they already you can move in your room, right? But so when you rent hotel on for Shabbos for one day, you must pay for 2 nights. So even though you're going to leave after Shabbos, but they're not going to let you stay like for free. So I don't think you can rent for half a day. I don't think so. Anyway, like they're not going to be able to rent it to somebody else. So why should they lose money? Like I'm just talking out of the logic. So in US, right? If you want to stay over for Shabbos, so you would pay for 2 days for sure. Even if you live in Motzei Shabbos, it doesn't matter. I mean, they do not care. Stay the whole night. But in Israel, it's very interesting. It's actually it's the only exception. Motzei Shabbos on Friday, so you check in on Friday, or right? If you check out on Motzei Shabbos, it's after the sundown, so they give you after nightfall. They know this nightfall. They give you 1 hour. So it's very interesting. You have 1 hour or an hour and a half to move out. It's very interesting, and I think it's very convenient. It's very considerate of them. I'm not sure if all of the hotels do, but in all of them that we stayed, they actually provide this convenience. You understand? Okay, so continue. So that's we just discussed rent or lease. Okay, Yom Tov, as on Shabbos, even for purpose of the mitzvah. So we're not about to buy or sell or lease or stuff like that. Continue. One may obtain from a store an item that one needs on Yom Tov, provided that one does not mention the value, weight of the item. Right, as we said, he can ask 5 bananas, one loaf of bread. Right, so he does not say like no measurements. So and B, one makes no explicit mention of payment. So as I said, in these stores in non-Jewish store in Jewish neighborhoods, they know. I mean, Jews are going to come after Shabbos and pay. You don't have to tell them. These people know, right? But for example, they do not know. So you can say like indirectly, "I'm going to come in terms for you with you after Shabbos." Come in terms like some vague language, but other side understand that you're going to pay them. But did he say about payment anything? No. Right? Maybe you're going to come and say thank you. I don't know. So, but that's the only language allowed. So again, no explicit measurements, right? Value, right? Like 1 pound. You cannot say 1 pound, but you can say, give me 5 apples. Okay. Continue. Giving gifts. One may give gifts on Yom Tov, provided that the gift is a usable product or something that can be made into usable product of Yom Tov. So, meaning what? You can give books or something to people, right? Talis. Whatever you give. Food, of course. You can give as a gift on Yom Tov. And we said, why? Because person, actually, the giver also always enjoys. I mean, if he's normal person, right? Enjoys giving, right? So that's just for this purpose of joy. So we allow, and some people also like enjoy to receive gifts. So it's not, many times it's not about the gift, but somebody thought of us, and they appreciate whatever we did for them. So that's can count a lot. Okay. So next one, the gift may be carried through the public domain on Yom Tov. So because it is for Yom Tov needs, right, to bring this gift. So public domain, usually there is no eruv. That's what they mean. There is no eruv, so you would be allowed to carry, which is good. Great. Okay. Any questions before I continue? Yes.
No, the word says, what about Chol HaMoed?
No, Chol HaMoed is not a Yom Tov. It's like you can do. Let's leave it until the end. Until the end, and I'm going to explain Chol HaMoed because it's a different subject. And many people misunderstand this Chol HaMoed concept to they think about something opposite about Chol HaMoed. Okay, so let's leave it. It's a very good question. Any other questions beside that? Okay. Given gifts. Okay, so continue. Measuring and weighing. It is forbidden to measure or weigh anything on Yom Tov. However, this is permitted for the purpose of the mitzvah. Again, it's forbidden to measure or weigh anything for Yom Tov. However, it's permitted for purpose of the mitzvah. So you need to measure matzah, even though we say you can look at the packages and you can calculate. Wine is a different story, right? Wine on Pesach, right? Pesach night. So, for example, if you got a new cups and you never measured, and as I said, this story I always say, so don't be overconfident. So I was like very strict with my family, pushing them because I thought I assumed whatever I assumed that how much they must drink, and then my wife said, "Look, can you just measure? Just stop." Measure. And when I stopped and measured, it was many years ago, I was very embarrassed. I'm telling you, I was very embarrassed because the actual measure was like, I don't know, maybe 30% less that I thought that it was like minimum requirement. You understand? So that was actually, for sure, it was Yom Tov need. But we had electronic scale, so of course we did it before Yom Tov, but that was very like if somebody have like manual scale, not manual, like what is it, mechanical scale, so that would be 100%. So but once I knew, like once I measured once in my life, like how much wine it should be in these type of glasses, because I mean we don't change glasses, it's the same glasses for all of these years. So I know exactly how much, and that's it. So now I know how much to pour for them, and they should. So I'm trying to pour the minimum requirement, and let the members of my family or guests, right, to drink majority of the cup. You understand? Because if you pour it, that's what I was doing. Like if you pour too much and they drink a little, does not look good, because it says clearly. Of course, like I would drink the whole cup. For me, there is no like it's no option. But you can be only strict with yourself. So why? Because I said on Yom Tov, on this holiday, it's a biblical obligation. So I'm going to drink, or a rabbinical obligation. It doesn't matter. So if I'm going to the highest standards. Whatever Chazanish says, that's my standard. Okay, so of course we dilute it with grape juice. I mean, I would not be able to drink so much wine, so but with grape juice and matzah. So basically, I don't need almost anything else, almost, because it's so much matzah, it's so much wine. Okay, but at least there is no mitzvah to eat chicken or fish or this or that. There is mitzvah to eat these specific things, and especially mortar. So it's very, very light. And I say it's very light. So when you take like few leaves, that minimum that you should eat, so people think that you're crazy. But if you put it on a scale, it's not crazy. It's not. Okay. So again, if you have mechanical scales, so use it on Yom Tov for these mitzvah purposes. Next one, it is permitted to measure weight for the benefit of ill person, as a person's care is considered a mitzvah, or as we said for a young child, right? Also, he or she is a category of sick people. They're perfectly healthy, but because the health is so fragile, so that's in like until at least 3 years old, according to some opinion, 5 years old. But okay. Second. Taking person temperature is permitted, but not with a digital thermometer. See above. So of course we said there, if it's like life and death, not life, like life-threatening situation. So I remember like always like through the childhood. So mother would touch us on our forehead with her lips, and she would say exactly what the temperature is. You can take the temperature. It would be like a little of maybe sometimes yes, sometimes exactly. It's unbelievable. That's what the mother can do. Very interesting. So okay, so this mercury one. So always have a mercury one. The old style. That's for sure. It's kosher for Shabbos, but we remember. You can shake before the use, but after use you're not allowed to shake. Even if you prepare to take that you would need to take a temperature like 1 hour later, doesn't matter. You shake it then. Okay. It is permitted to measure a weight for the benefit of the infant. Okay, we said that. It is not permitted to measure a weight portion for a healthy person who is on weight reducing diet. Okay, that's too much. That's a craziness of the world. Okay, stop it with this weight reducing diets. Okay. Continue. So next one, measuring for the purpose of cooking. It is permitted to measure seasoning on Yom Tov, provided that the wrong amount of seasoning might ruin the food. Okay, I mean, do you use some control substance, like I said, salt through the hand, not through the container. And B, using seasoning is a type that are commonly measured on the weekdays. Okay, so whatever is it. Next one, weighing is forbidden even in these circumstances. Okay, measurement yes, but weighing is not. Okay. One may not use measuring. One may use a measuring cup to pour approximate amount of any liquid. So you take liquid from one container, put it in another. So it's like another cup. So you're just using the measuring cup. So next one, games. It is forbidden to play games in which one normally records scores, whatever game sees it, right? Next one, reading menus and a guest list. It is forbidden for the host or hostess to read the menu, menu, guest list or sitting list of any meal for which the guests are arriving. So I guess maybe it's that's my understanding. Maybe it's like they have bar mitzvah, let's say, or bas mitzvah, and they do it in a shul, like a big hall or somewhere, like in different like venues, like big hall. Yeah, that would be appropriate. That's when you would get this sitting list. Okay. It is permitted for someone other than the host or hostess to read this list in the case of the mitzvah banquet. For example, the meal takes place on Yom Tov, right? Meal on Yom Tov, yeah. Okay. So, any questions on what we said? So we finished that part that we discuss the prohibitions, that the activities that might lead somebody to writing or erasing. So I mean, by themselves, these activities are not forbidden. So they only forbidden because our sages, their great wisdom, so that they might lead the person to writing or erasing. Okay. Any questions on what we said?